You are listening to Life Dilemmas and Dad Stuff podcast. This is episode number 3, where we are talking about learning how to regulate our own emotions and just learning how to regulate ourselves. I'm really finding at the moment how important it is to be able to be present enough to observe my own emotions and to really observe where I'm at in each part of my day. And the reason why I'm finding it so important is because those thoughts in your head, if they can really take you on a big spiral. They can take you down into the dumps quicker than a second. And before you know it, you spend your whole day totally in your head and you're just following these spiral of thoughts down. And if you don't learn how to regulate yourself, regulate your emotions, then shit can get really crappy very, very quickly. And this is not just in those moments where there's a lot going on, or you're being challenged by a lot of people, or you're being challenged by a lot of things in your life. It should be a no-brainer every single day to sort of catch yourself, because when your emotions are out of whack and you're in a place of darkness, then it feels so heavy and it's so hard to get out of that place. It's a lot easier to be able to constantly remind yourself of, like, oh man, where am I at? Am I actually present, or am I just a victim to my emotions and the thoughts in my head? And the way that it works, I believe, is that when these little thoughts come into your head, and if you don't catch yourself and they take you on a little spiral, then your emotions get involved and you start to feel frustrated, you start to feel stuck, you start to feel angry, you start to feel like you don't really have anything to offer the world, or you don't have anything to offer. You don't really have much value to add anywhere, and when you get those little moments of like, oh man, this is just too much, then you start even going deeper into playing full victim into, I shouldn't have done this, or I wish this person was better, or I wish that they acted like this, or I wish I made this decision 6 months ago or 12 months ago. And it, in truth, none of that really matters. None of that really matters, because when you are in control of where your emotions are, and emotions are even easier to explore, or easier to become. Yeah, emotions are way easier to to become observant of than the thoughts in your head, because emotions feel like, when you're feeling heavy. It's so easy. It's just like, how am I feeling right now? And then you either feel heavy, you either feel heavy, or you feel light and you feel like on top of the world, or you're just feeling stable. Whichever one it is, it's really easy to check in with yourself emotionally and then go to the thoughts, because once you feel your emotions and you go, okay, well, what am I actually thinking about here? What are the thoughts that have been rolling through my head over the last half an hour, or maybe even since the moment you woke up? And then you'll go, oh, right, I get it now. So if my thoughts are doing a certain thing, they roll into my emotions, and then ultimately they roll into your external experience of life. And when you're moving through a certain shift, the number one thing where I'm finding that is has to happen is I have to be incredibly vigilant in how I'm feeling. Where are my emotions at? And then when I observe where my emotions are at, and I sort of follow that path upward into my thoughts, and I go, right, okay, this is what I've been thinking about, then really it puts me into a place of power to be able to change my thoughts. And that's not as easy as just going, yeah, I'm going to change my thoughts, because you change it, maybe you change tact for maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and then you're back into the fucking spiral. So it's actually really hard to change your thoughts unless you find a way to break a pattern. And one of my favorites, which I actually learned from Tony Robbins a long, long time ago, and it's a really, really good one. I think I was like 20 or 21 years old when I learned this one, and I've been using it ever since. Is you make your left hand, you make it like a little palm. So you open up your hands, like fingers out, and then with your other hand, like a chopping block, you just go whack into your into the side of your, or into the middle of your hand. Unless you're watching this on video, and I'll probably post this on Instagram anyway, so you'll probably see it. But one of the great ways that I find to stop me in my tracks in terms of my emotional being and how I am. And if I'm going down a dark rabbit hole where my thoughts are taking me down and my emotions are heavy and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get through the day? You open your hand and whack. And there's something that happens when you give yourself 2 or 3 good whacks in your hand, like a chopping block, that totally takes you back to ground zero. And then you can start to rebuild. And ultimately, that's what emotional regulation is all about, is to be able to catch yourself before you go down a dark rabbit hole, and then you're going to be stuck in there for quite a while. And what I'm finding with a lot of my coaching clients is that they're constantly going down these dark rabbit holes, and it takes real courage. It takes real essence and real ultimate curiosity to be able to catch yourself and try something different that doesn't really feel like home. It feels like you're out of whack, because most of the time, and I spoke about this in the last few podcasts or last few episodes, is most of the time, because we're not shown evidence of the outside world to show us that we should be feeling good, then how do I put myself into a state where I'm feeling good if the outside world is actually giving me evidence to show me that I should be feeling like shit or I should be feeling lost? This is where emotional regulation really, really comes to the top of the priority list. Because in those moments when the outside world is telling you something different than how you want to feel, it's not up to the outside world. It's not up to the physical or the reality that you would call it to show you how you should feel. It's up to you to be able to shift and change your emotional state, and then the outside world changes. And this is where it becomes really you've got to have your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on to start moving into the world, learning how to create the emotion you want to create, and then seeing how the outside world reacts to that. And the outside world will mirror what it is that you're feeling. So for example, I'll give you an example here. If you've woken up and there's some shit going on at work, or there's some shit going on in your relationship, or, you know, there's some financial struggles, or there's something that's showing you, like it really is, it's really showing you why you should be feeling like shit. And then you go into fixing mode. And then once you go into fixing mode, you're like, right, well, I've got to fix this. And then, oh, well, if I fix that, then this person has to act this way. And then if that happens, then I've got to go over here. And then you just go down this rabbit hole, and ultimately you feel so tired that you actually have zero energy to do anything. So if that happens, you know that you're going to go down a path that you don't want to go down. But in the mornings, what I've been doing is, especially in the mornings, as soon as I open up my eyes, my first question is, all right, where are we at? Where are we at? What are we feeling? You know, what's happening? How are we going into the day? And I really try, even before I put my feet on the earth, even if it feels forced or even if it feels fake, I just relax. I take a big breath in, and I just I either try and create a sense of gratitude, like thank you for being in my bed or whatever, or thank you for this amazing body that I have and whatever else. And then look, I mean, this is what I do, and I'm not expecting everyone else to do this, but most of the mornings I'm usually up at like 5:30, 5:45. First thing I do, gratitude, thank you, go brush my teeth, and then get straight in the car. And I go to one of my favorite little places in Melbourne, Inner Studios. I go straight there, straight in the ice bath by 6:30 or even 6:15 usually. I'm in an ice bath for 5 minutes, sit in a sauna, back in the ice bath for 1 minute, and then home. And I'm usually home by 7:15 before Nick and Winter wake up. So once I'm home, then I'm ready to start the day, and I'm feeling really good. And I'm feeling really empowered by how I'm stepping into the world. And that doesn't mean shit doesn't happen. Even this morning, I just had a really brief conversation with Nick before she went to work. And straight away, that conversation should have given me enough evidence, and it did give me enough evidence to spiral me down a rabbit hole that I just don't want to be in. And so I could move into two different places. I could even either go, do you know what? Nick's acting like this. She's saying these things, and that's making me feel this way. And who the fuck does she dare? How dare she? Say shit like that. And this stuff happens. In every type of relationship, and ultimately, am I going to let someone's comments ruin my day? The answer is I could. And I could have gone, you know what? I'm not going to do the podcast today because I feel like shit. But no, what do? I just have so much trust in myself and how I can regulate my emotions. And I always know that I'm always going to be okay. I know that where I'm heading, I know that I'm coming into the world in almost like a radiant new energy, new power. And I'm giving, and I'm receiving so much back. So these are the moments where you already know that if you have people in your life or situations in your life or activities in your life that are going to trigger you and try and put you into a shit mental state or shit emotional state, why do you get involved? The thing is, you don't need to get involved, even if those things are right there in front of you. And they're constantly pushing, they're constantly, giving you all the evidence to show you why you should feel like shit or why you should go down a certain path. You're the one in charge. There's no one that can stop you from checking in. And curiosity is a big part of it. You have to check in with yourself with curiosity. I look at my own emotions. I'm like, what's going on there? How you feeling over there? What's okay, cool. Feeling a bit heavy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So why am I feeling this way? What's going on? I'm genuinely curious. Like, what have I done, or what have I said, or what situation did I get into? And I'm like, oh, right, okay, cool. So that's what happened there, right? Okay, so let's just leave that there because I don't really have too much power over how to change that situation. And do I really want to go into fixing it? Not really, because going into fixing it is just going to create more things to fix. What do I want to do? I want to make sure that I'm in the best possible state I can be in. And when I'm in the best possible state I can be in, that means I can step straight back into my true purpose, my true north. And when I'm in my true north, that's when I know that I'm on purpose. And when I'm on purpose, I'm unfucking stoppable. And I know that everyone out there is very, very similar. When you feel on purpose, it doesn't matter what noises are going around. It doesn't matter, because when you're on purpose, when you're on path, you feel radiant, you feel open, you feel alive. And that's the moment. They're the things that I constantly have to bring myself back to now, because there is so much going on in my life at the moment, and there is so many unknowns. There's so many what ifs, and I still just have to regulate my emotions. And I love this one, guys. This fucking, come on, let's go whack that, whack the palms. Totally. There's all these neuro pathways through the arms and all the way Chinese medicine and, you know, bloody reflexology and all that type of stuff. There's something in the middle of the palms that when you whack it, it immediately puts you back into ground zero. And when you're at ground zero, you can start to build again. And when you can start to build again, you're either going to start to build from a place of heaviness, which is not suggestible or not recommended, or you can start to do this sense of curiosity and move into your absolute truth. And look, the really um the 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 moments where I find it really hard is when I start to believe that the thoughts that I'm feeling are actually, or sorry, the the most the hardest part, I find the most challenging part with myself is that when I start to believe that the thoughts that are happening in my head are actually true. And then I start to believe that the emotions that I'm feeling are actually true. This is the biggest challenge because the thoughts that are happening in your head, they're not actually, the thoughts that are happening in my head, in your head, in everyone's head, they're just made up. It's most of it is projection into what you think may happen in the future or what we think may happen in the future. And so when we're projecting of all the things that could potentially happen, all the shit that could go wrong in the future, then of course we're probably going down a road that looks like the future is incredibly bleak and it's going to be sucky. And why would we even want to go there? So all we try and do is either we just hold back or we totally disassociate with life, or what we can do, which I love, is remember that we are the ones in power. We are the ones that can shift and change. We are the ones that have the ability to be on path, be on purpose. And that's ultimately what we're here to find out is what's my purpose, what's my direction, where am I going, and have full trust. Full fucking trust that if you're on path and you're in your truth, then wherever you're going is 100% the right way to go. And as we know from last week's podcast, then when you're moving in the direction that you need to move and you're on path and you're on purpose, it's going to be clunky. It's going to feel like you don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't matter because when you regulate your emotions and you do all the things. And look, for me, ice baths and saunas and doing the black and wacky thing and, yoga, there is so breath work, meditation, all this type of stuff. There is so many things that can help you take power over what every day is going to bring. And there is so many things that you could do and that you should do. And so do it. I feel like jumping in an ice bath in the mornings? Fuck no. I wouldn't still, I've been doing it for 15, 20 years. Do I like it? Absolutely not. Got no interest in it. It just sucks. All I know is that every time I come out of there, I feel strong, I feel empowered, and I feel like I've started my day in a weird, awkward, and or uncomfortable situation. So whatever comes to me for the rest of the day, I can deal with it. I know how to deal with it. So whatever it might be for you in terms of emotional regulation, but change it up. You have to change it up because if you're just living the same fucking life every single day and you're having the same challenges and you're having the same conversations and nothing's changing, then what are we doing here? Like, why live? Guys, and I say that very, very lightly. So I'm not asking why are you living. So you want to be, I apologize. I don't want to say that. What I'm saying is, why wouldn't we want to have a life that is fucking exciting. And it is exciting to move into the challenges in your life. It's exciting to move into it with curiosity, because then you find out, is this actually for me or not for me? But you're not going to know unless you move deep into it, and you move deep into it quickly. And so while you're doing this, while you're moving through the challenges and, fatherhood, oh my God, fatherhood, what a thing that is, and all the stuff around that. Man, it's a really, really crazy world, and I'm super excited to be in it, and I'm super blessed to have you guys listening, the ones that, and it's such a consistent listening base, which I really appreciate, to be honest. I really love you guys, and really appreciate it. And yeah, I reckon that's enough. What do we reckon? We've done, I don't know, we've gone for. Yeah, it's a good one. Good, I don't know, 19, 20 minutes, I reckon that is. So yeah, guys, thank you. And guys, also, I was just going to say, obviously I'm back into the coaching world, which is great, and I'm super excited and loving it. And I've had a good number of sessions already with some new clients, and fuck, man, I love being back in the in that seat and just, sharing life. And isn't it interesting, because with me, what I'm finding in terms of the way I go, the way I coach, is that I felt a lot of pain in my life, and I've gone through a lot of struggles, and I still do. So when I'm working with my clients, I don't come at it like, oh, you've got to do this because this is what it's. I understand people's pain because I've been through a lot. So I share from my pain and from what I've learned, and the it's not even a coping mechanism. It's more so how to re-empower yourself. And that's really what I'm here to do with all my clients is, and these podcasts and whatever else I'm doing, is just to fucking put our big boy pants on, big girl pants on, step into our true power, and let's move towards what our true purpose is. Because ultimately that's what we're here to do. And I want as many people in this world to get to their last breath in their life when we're 90 or 100 or 150 by then, and sit back and go, that was a fucking good ride. And that's what I want for all of us. Lots of love. Mwah. See you next week, baby.